Welcome back to Crime Documentary Files. Today, we'll delve into a tragic and mysterious murder case that took place in Yuxi City, Yunnan Province, China, in 2011. What started as a joyful and heartwarming birthday party turned into the beginning of a horrifying tragedy. This case not only shocked the public with the brutality of the perpetrator, but also with the complex and dramatic circumstances surrounding the relationship between the victims and the murderer. What really happened on that fateful day? Let's rewind to October 7th, 2010 to uncover the details. That Thursday marked the 18th birthday of Li Lanyu. At a bar in Manmiao, her close friends organized a special birthday celebration for her. For Lanyu, this was the most extravagant birthday she had ever experienced, marking her transition into adulthood. However, as she basked in the joy of the moment, little did she know that this would be the last birthday of her life. On the night of October 14th, 2010, Mr. Chang, a resident of the Daijing neighborhood in Hongta District, Yuxi City, was walking down the third-floor corridor when he was overwhelmed by a strong, foul odor. Curious and unsettled, he traced the smell to a rental unit on the same floor. Mr. Chang found the odor suspicious and wondered if something terrible had happened to the occupants of the apartment. He knocked on the door several times, but there was no response. Alarmed, he sought out the woman living next door for more information. According to the neighbor, she hadn't seen the young woman renting the apartment in recent days. What struck her as odd was that the girl's clothes had been soaking in the communal restroom for over a week without being washed. When Mr. Chang glanced down, he was shocked to see bloodstains on the floor near the doorway. Startled and deeply concerned, he began to suspect that something terrible had happened. He immediately contacted the police. Upon receiving the report, the Yuxi City Police promptly dispatched a team to the scene. Inside the apartment, they found numerous signs of cleaning around the bed. A preliminary investigation revealed that the drawers of the wardrobe and TV stand had been rummaged through, indicating the possibility of a break-in or robbery. The bloodstains on the floor suggested that the occupant might have met with foul play. However, there was no sign of the victim's body. Had the perpetrator removed it? Determined to investigate thoroughly, the police conducted a meticulous search of the apartment. When they lifted the mattress and bed frame, they were horrified by what they discovered. Beneath the bed lay two decomposing bodies. A forensic examination revealed that the victims had suffered multiple deep stab wounds. Based on the preliminary autopsy, the estimated time of death was about 1 week prior, placing it on October 7th. Who could be so cruel as to murder both young women? Through their investigation at the scene, police discovered an ID card on one of the two victims. The name on the ID was Cao Simai. However, due to the advanced decomposition of the body, they could not immediately confirm the victim's identity. Still, they believed the information on the ID could provide clues to uncover the true identities of the two victims. According to the landlord and nearby residents, only one person lived in the apartment, and no one had seen her bringing anyone over. How could there have been two people found under the bed? The following morning, police made a significant breakthrough. Using the information on the ID found at the scene, they located Simai's parents. Fingerprint analysis confirmed that one of the victims was indeed Simai, who had rented the apartment 3 months earlier. But who was the second victim? What was her relationship with Simai? At this stage, the police were still unsure. The police quickly began investigating Cao Simai's activities and social relationships. That same morning, the owner of a hair salon less than 300 feet from the crime scene provided crucial information. According to the salon owners, on the afternoon of October 7th, Simai had come to the salon with a man who spoke Mandarin and claimed to be from Guangdong Province. The salon owner recalled that Simai was a frequent customer, so she was quite familiar with her. However, she had never seen the man accompanying Simai before. Out of curiosity, she asked Simai who the man was. Simai told her he was a friend she had recently met. During the conversation, the man mentioned that he was in the sofa business in Kunming City and had come to Yuxi for a short vacation. After finishing their visit to the salon, Simai and the man walked toward an internet cafe. Curious, the salon owner watched them from her shop, located across the street about 160 to 200 feet away from the cafe. She saw the pair enter the cafe. Based on this critical tip, the police immediately turned their focus to the internet cafe and began their investigation. They reviewed the registration logs of all internet users at the cafe on the afternoon of October 7th. The records confirmed that Simai had logged in to use the internet there. Further questioning of the cafe staff revealed that around 4 p.m. on October 7th, Simai had been at the cafe with two other people. Coincidentally, one of them was still in the cafe. The police quickly located her. Her name was Yang Ling. Yang Ling explained that she was a friend of Simai and that the man who accompanied them was named Ma Fengkun. She added that Ma appeared friendly and approachable, and after chatting with him, they decided to play a game together. Police brought Yang Ling in to identify the victims. Upon seeing the bodies, Yang Ling confirmed that the other victim was Li Lanyu. She revealed that she, Simai, and Lanyu were friends and had just celebrated Lanyu's 18th birthday on October 7th. Although the police had now identified the two victims, they were puzzled by a lingering question. Why was Lanyu brutally murdered in the apartment rented by Simai? What was their connection? Yang Ling provided additional context. She and Lanyu were close friends. She had met Simai at Lanyu's birthday party on October 7th. However, she didn't know how Lanyu and Simai knew each other. Yang Ling recalled that the party that night had 7 attendees, 3 women, herself, Simai, and Xiao Na, and 4 men, including Lanyu's 2 boyfriends and 2 men Simai had brought along. The birthday party went on until late at night, and some attendees suggested continuing to an after-party. Yang Ling thought it was too late and declined, making up an excuse that she had something urgent to do. After saying her goodbyes, Yang Ling went home alone. She later recounted, "I don't know where they went, but I saw Li Lanyue and Simai leave with the 2 men." From that night on, no one saw Cao Simai again, and calls to her phone went unanswered. Thinking that Lanyu and Simai were adults who might have been preoccupied with personal matters, Yang Ling didn't dwell on it. It wasn't until a week later, during the police investigation, that Yang Ling learned her friends Lanyu and Simai had been murdered. Confronted with this unexpected tragedy, Yang Ling was unable to accept the horrifying truth. What happened after the birthday party? Were the deaths of the 2 young women connected to the 2 men who left with them that night? Through Yang Ling, the police located Xiao Na, another woman who had attended Lanyu's birthday party on the evening of October 7th. Xiao Na was a close friend of Simai, and she might provide more information about the men Simai had met, potentially leading to a breakthrough in the case. According to Xiao Na, the 2 men were not acquaintances of Simai, but were people she herself had met at a bar on the evening of October 5th. The men had approached her and invited her for drinks, which is how they got to know each other. The following afternoon, Xiao Na received a phone call from one of the men, who identified himself as being from Guangdong, inviting her to dinner. Xiao Na agreed. However, since she had only just met him the previous night, and didn't know much about him, she hesitated to meet him alone. After some consideration, Xiao Na invited a few friends to join her, but they were all busy and declined. At that point, Xiao Na thought of her friend Simai and called her to say she had been invited to dinner and asked if she wanted to come along. Simai readily agreed. On the evening of October 6th, Xiao Na and Simai accepted the tall man's invitation to a restaurant. During dinner, Xiao Na introduced Simai to the 2 men. Through their conversation that night, Simai became acquainted with the 2 strangers. The following evening, October 7th, Simai invited the 2 men to join Lanyu's birthday party. However, when the police questioned the party attendees, they discovered that none of them knew anything about the 2 men who had accompanied Simai that night. No one even knew their names. To gather more information about the 2 men, the police revisited Yang Ling. This time she provided a critical detail. One of the men who left with Cao Simai and Li Lanyue after the birthday party, the tall man, was the same individual who had accompanied Simai to the internet cafe across from the hair salon on the evening of October 7th. This information was a major breakthrough in the murder investigation, prompting the police to return to the hair salon for further inquiries. According to the hair salon owner, on the afternoon of October 7th, the man from Guangdong had purchased a ring for Simai. Being meticulous, the salon owner inquired about the price of the ring, which she recalled was approximately 774 yuan. She also asked Simai where the ring had been purchased, to which Simai replied that it was from Zhang Wangfu Jewelry on Nanmen Street. Why would a man who had just met Simai buy her an expensive gold ring? What was his motive behind such an unusual gesture? With these questions in mind, the police immediately visited the jewelry store provided by the salon owner. Speaking with the store owner and staff, they confirmed that a tall man speaking Mandarin had indeed come to the store with a young woman on the afternoon of October 7th to purchase a ring. The police examined the credit card receipt and discovered the signature of the man who had purchased the ring for Simai. Following the transaction trail, they investigated the credit card's usage and found that it had also been used at a Peak store on Fenghuang Road on the same day as the crime. Reviewing surveillance footage from the store, they observed that the two tall men and Simai had visited the shop that afternoon to buy clothes. The police traced the credit card number and identified the cardholder as Yin Yurong. However, when they entered Yurong's name into the National Resident Database, they were disappointed to find that the cardholder did not match the tall man seen in the footage. Showing Yurong's photo to Xiao Na, and her friends confirmed that the man in the picture was not the tall individual they knew. The police suspected that the man had used a stolen ID and fraudulent information. Eventually, the police found footage of the two men at the bar's entrance at 12:40 a.m. on October 8th. After Cao Simai and Lan Yu left the bar, the two men followed them outside. This time, the surveillance cameras captured clear images of the men. The tall man from Guangdong was shirtless and wearing black pants, while the shorter man was wearing a short-sleeved shirt. By combining these surveillance clips, the police were able to preliminarily determine the height, build, and approximate age of the tall man. However, they still could not confirm his specific identity. The two men, a tall one and a shorter one, had been in frequent contact with the victims leading up to the crime. But after the murders, they suddenly disappeared. Their strange behavior and the use of a false identity led investigators to believe they were closely tied to the case. As a result, the police deployed a large task force to gather every possible clue and trace the movements of these two individuals. Shortly after, during the investigation, a taxi driver who frequently picked up passengers near the small plaza provided a critical lead. In the early hours of October 8th, while picking up customers near Dajing, two men, a tall one and a shorter one, hailed his taxi. They were carrying a bag and appeared quite nervous. After getting into the taxi, they didn't specify a destination, only saying they wanted to go to the area across from the Songyin Hotel, where there were several small inns. They eventually exited near the intersection of Taiyuan Road in Hongta District. The Taiyuan Road area in Hongta District is known for its small inns and proximity to the Yuxi Central Bus Station. Additionally, at 3 a.m., no long-distance buses were running to other provinces. Based on this, the police deduced that the two men likely checked into an inn in the area. They began sifting through guest records from nearby inns, focusing on check-in times and registration information. At an inn named Renhe, the police uncovered an important clue. Around 2 a.m. on October 8th, a staff member preparing to close the front desk heard someone knocking on the door, saying they wanted to stay the night. Upon review, the staff found that a man named Qi Jilin had checked into the inn near Taiyuan Road 2 days earlier. Around 3:30 a.m. on October 8th, Jilin returned with a tall man, and they stayed in room 301. Early the next morning, they hurriedly checked out and left. According to the innkeeper, the physical descriptions and facial features of the two men closely resembled those captured in the surveillance footage collected by the police. Using the registration details from the inn, the police quickly identified the personal information of Qi Jilin. They then showed Jilin's photo to individuals who had seen the two men, a tall one and a shorter one, at Lan Yu's birthday party. Nearly everyone confirmed that Jilin was the shorter man. Further investigation revealed that the shorter man, who had claimed to be from Caotong, Yunnan, was actually from Luoping County in Kujing City. He was 18 years old. After days of investigation, the police finally identified Chi Jilin as one of the two suspects. They immediately issued a provincial arrest warrant and sent a criminal investigation team to Jilin's hometown in Luoping County, Kujing City, to conduct further inquiries. It was discovered that Jilin had been working odd jobs away from home since childhood, primarily in Kunming, and had strained relationships with his family, rarely visiting them. On October 15th, the police received critical information that Jilin had returned to Luoping, Kujing, from Guizhou. The criminal investigation team swiftly headed to Kujing. With the assistance of the city's forensic technical team and Luoping police, Jilin was successfully apprehended. During his interrogation, Jilin confessed to participating in the robbery and murder of the two women in the rented apartment with the tall man. However, when asked about his accomplice, Jilin claimed, "I don't know anything about the tall man." He stated that he didn't know the man's name, hometown, or any personal details, except that the man went by the name Yurong and was supposedly from Dali. Jilin referred to him by the nickname Ah Ming. The police then began investigating Yurong's identity in Dali. Records showed that Yurong, from Yunlong County, Dali, bore no resemblance, neither in height nor facial features, to the images captured on surveillance or the descriptions given by attendees at the birthday party. In other words, the tall man was not the real Yurong and had used Yin Yurong's personal information. At this point, the case seemed to hit a dead end. The tall man's identity, background, occupation, and reasons for concealing his real name all remained a mystery, raising a series of unanswered questions for the police. According to Chi Jilin's confession, after murdering Simai and Lan Yu in the early hours of October 8th, the two men fled the scene by taxi. They stayed for a few hours at an inn near the intersection of Taiyuan Road in Hongta District. At dawn, they quickly left Yuxi and fled to Guiyang. Jilin did not expect that on October 14th, the tall man, who had always looked after him like an older brother, would suddenly disappear without saying a word. Stranded and alone, Jilin returned to his hometown in Luoping County, Kujing City, on October 15th, where he was arrested immediately upon arrival. On October 16th, the police received crucial information from a bank. Yin Yurong's bank card had been used to withdraw cash from an agricultural bank ATM on Taiyuan Road, Hongta District, at around 3 a.m. on October 8. Surveillance footage from the bank showed a man in sportswear entering the bank at 3:06 a.m. When shown the footage, Jilin identified the tall man smoking a cigarette and dressed in sportswear as his accomplice. During questioning, Jilin revealed that he and the tall man had worked together at a sofa manufacturing factory in Kunming 2 years earlier. Acting on this information, the investigation team dispatched officers to Kunming to investigate. At the factory, police learned that the tall man had abruptly left work on October 5th without explanation and never returned. Attempts by the factory owner to contact him were unsuccessful. The factory owner and employees only knew the man by the name Yurong. The factory owner provided the police with the tall man's temporary address, which marked a turning point in the case. At the rented residence, the police conducted a covert search and discovered a mobile phone. Upon examining the phone, they found a text message. By analyzing the message, using the resident information system, and comparing the images from surveillance footage, the task force finally confirmed the tall man's true identity, Su Xinming, who had been using the alias Yin Yurong and the nickname Ah Ming. Su was born on October 10, 1983, had an education level equivalent to middle school, and hailed from Pinglang Town, Dayun City, Guizhou Province. Once Su's identity was confirmed, the police checked for any prior criminal records. When his information was entered into the wanted criminals database, the results were astonishing. Su Xinming was a fugitive wanted for first-degree murder in a 2008 case in Hainan. This revelation came as a shock to the investigators. Based on this new information, the police deduced that Su might return to his former residence. Surveillance teams were deployed to monitor the location. On the afternoon of October 22nd, Su Xinming was successfully apprehended when he returned to his home to pack his belongings. The robbery and murder case from October 14th in Hongta District, Yuxi, was officially solved. Furthermore, this breakthrough also led to the resolution of a first-degree murder case from November 3rd, 2008, in Haikou City, Hainan Province. In the 2008 case, Su had killed someone in Haikou on October 3rd and fled to Yunnan, where he assumed the false identity of Yin Yurong and began working in Kunming. According to the confession of the suspect Su Xinming, he met Qi Zhilin at the sofa factory. Outside of work, the two had little to do and often spent time eating and drinking together. At Su's suggestion, the pair planned to go to Yuxi to befriend women with the intent of robbing them. On October 5th, they arrived in Yuxi and went to a bar that evening, drinking while scouting for potential targets. At the bar, Su Xinming met a woman named Xiao Na and had drinks with her. The next day, Su called Xiao Na and invited her to dinner. That evening, Xiao Na brought along Chao Simai. Through Xiao Na, Su was introduced to Simai. To gain Simai's trust, Su purchased a gold ring worth over 700 wen for her, and later accompanied her to celebrate her friend Lan Yu's birthday. Around 1 a.m. on October 8th, after Li Lan Yu's birthday party ended, Simai invited Su and Jilin to her rented home on Dajing Road for further conversation. She also invited Lan Yu, who had just celebrated her birthday. Outside the bar, Su told Jilin that he noticed Simai was carrying a lot of money and proposed that they rob her later. As soon as the four entered Simai's rented home, Su and Jilin attacked and killed the two women. They then stole cash, bank cards, mobile phones, and the gold ring from Simai's hand. The bodies were hidden under the bed, and the two men fled the scene. In less than 2 weeks, the police, through their tireless efforts, successfully solved a case involving complex relationships and captured a dangerous fugitive. On December 20th of the same year, the double murder case of Li Lan Yu and Cao Simai went to trial. Su Xinming and Qi Zhilin, the cold-blooded perpetrators, ultimately faced justice for their heinous crimes. Their death sentences were not only a legal punishment, but also a strong societal condemnation of such inhumane acts. While the case was closed, its impact remains, serving as a haunting reminder of society's darker side. The tragedy of this case lies in the victims' lack of caution with their newfound acquaintances. Trusting these men enough to invite them home provided the opportunity for the suspects to commit their crimes. This incident serves as a sobering reminder for young people to stay vigilant when interacting with strangers and to protect themselves from potential harm. This concludes today's video. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one. Goodbye.